that I would have to say that if the pressure is on his opponent, that's a double whammy, because Chang is so tough under any circumstances.
Well, I think if anybody goes through the draw in any of these tournaments, the first name they look for is Michael Chang. They don't want to run up against him. And ironically, Chang beat Courier after Courier had beaten Restagno out in California, out in San Francisco about 8 weeks ago. That put him up to #1 player in the world. And I think it would be very ironic if young Michael Chang got through there today and beat Jim Courier and took him off that pedestal and made him #2 again. And I think he's got a big shot at doing that.
Fred, with your voice, I hope we get through this thing. Let's take a look at Jim Courier and find out how you see his strengths and weaknesses.
Well, of course, the explosive ground strokes, always plays well off the ground. I think we don't give him enough credit on that first serve. He gets that up to around about 115 miles an hour, but it's an arm serve. So that's why I believe it makes his second serve a little vulnerable. And of course, the volley, I put that in there because with that forehand grip that he has, it's very difficult to make low volleys with that type of a grip.
All right, how about the man that he's playing against, Michael Chang? We've talked about some of his strengths already, Fred, but how do you see him in this department?
Yeah, Michael Chang, every time we talk about Michael Chang, we put in his main strength as being foot speed. And Chang gets around the court. He's played some big servers. His returner serve is good, but foot speed has carried him through in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I think he's improved his first serve. Strategy, patience, you could call that court craft, anything you like. I think he's a great thinker out there. And I put in the weakness is just a lack of a big shot because he doesn't like where he can't hit too many winners. And he's working on that phase of his game, that part of his game. And I think the second serve, I think it's important that Chang gets a lot of first serves in here today because he knows that Courier is going to be tagging that second one if he doesn't.
Well, that's a good deep look at those two players. Fred, how about you, Mary?
Well, Cliff, it's interesting. These two have played each other for so long. They've known each other for many, many years, and but they've only played 3 times professionally where it really counts. Chang has a very slender 2-1 lead, including the only time they played in '92. He won that one, as Fred said, about 8 weeks ago. What's interesting about these two is we know them as great baseline battlers and full of resolve. But as Michael Chang so eloquently explains, there is one fundamental difference between them.
I think Jim actually takes a few more chances than I do. It really comes down to whether he's able to convert on those chances. You know, I'm more of a patient type of player, and when I get the shot, then I go for it. Jim will take a few chances. You know, he will hit the ones that he knows that he can hit, and every now and then he'll hit the ones that he thinks he has a good shot at. You know, if he thinks that the percentage is in his favor. So, you know, then again, it depends on to see how he plays. You know, if he's starting to miss those balls, you know, things are gonna start to flow my way.
I think Michael Chang is exactly right about that. Chang is the constant in this match. Courier's the man. He's got to come up with the goods. You know, he's got to outplay Chang, and that's not an easy thing to do, as we all know. Courier should win this one. If he doesn't execute well, he won't. It's really a question of his execution against Chang's strategy. Cliff, this should be a good one.
Thanks a lot, Mary. Talk about power hitters. Where are the power hitters? We've got 2 baseliners here in the semi-final of the Lipton on a hard court, but it's a slow one. Our coverage today of the Lipton is being brought to you by Lipton Recipe Soup Mix. It's too good to forget. By IBM, whatever your size, whatever your needs, IBM is working to bring you the best solutions. And by ESPN Home Video, producers and distributors of maximizing your tennis potential. Available at video and retail stores nationwide. #1 in the world, Jim Courier, is trying to stay #1 in the world. At the end of this week, he has to win this match to be there. We'll be back.
And ladies and gentlemen, as a courtesy to the guests and to the players on standing court, please, no smoking in the stadium today. Thank you for your cooperation.
Yeah. You are listening to me talking on my headset. I think that my mouthpiece is in the right position. Let me know if it isn't.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I'm on...
Yeah, I am. Hello, hello, hello. Oh.
The Miami Sea Aquarium's just down the road here. Let's see, not even a 5-minute drive from this International Tennis Center. There's plenty of things to do and things to see. So if you are looking for a vacation, and we understand the weather has not been too good up in the East Coast here lately, Florida's a good place to be. Jim Courier, #1 in the world. Michael Chang, #6 seed in this tournament, battling it out today. And Michael Chang's won 2 tournaments already, and he's playing very well this year. Jim Courier is 21 years old, born in Florida. He has a place in Dade City. Of course, that's where he was born, in that general area. Saddlebrook, Florida, he has a place. He has now also a place out in the Palm Springs area, the desert of California, where he's spending more of his time. Over $2.9 million in career prize money, as you can see, this year alone, as a result mainly of his Australian Open finish, $398,000. Since he has been #1 in the world, he hasn't won a tournament. He's been #1 for 5 weeks now. This is his 6th week. Current singles ranking, as we said, #1. As for Michael Chang, boy, it has been a good year for him. We mentioned that he won in San Francisco. He won last week as well. He's 20 years old, born in New Jersey, now Henderson, Nevada, and they have a place down in California as well at Costa de Casa. Michael Chang, Fred, after 2 victories, and let's remind our viewers that if you win the Indian Wells tournament, you very often come here to the Lipton and do pretty well, like Courier did last year.
Yeah, well, I think Michael Chang has been terrific the last month or so. I think it's the best start that he's ever had to the year in his very young career. And Michael gets out there. His forte is the return of serve and his foot speed, but he's faced some big servers. This is a different type of match for him today, because he's lost a couple of sets in his early round matches, and he's faced the big servers, but he just wears them down.
By in the first round, because he was seeded, of course, Thierry Champion. He struggled in the first set against him and lost it, and then Andres Gomez had to retire, and it was just as well for Jim Courier, because Gomez was playing well, and the audience in here was getting behind the South American. Then Charlie Stieb of Germany in straight sets after a tough first set. Diego Nagiso again losing the first set and winning the next 2 easily. Jim Courier, a very, as we said, gutsy player who will never give a match away. Conditions, talk to him about conditions. What, me worry about the wind and stuff like that? He likes them.
He's just worried about Michael Chang. He said, you know, they've played a lot of matches. And Michael will go out there and give me his brain teaser, and I'll give you my brain teaser, and we'll see what happens at the end of the match. So they know it's going to be difficult, and the wind, I think the breeze will come into, it'll be an element in this match. Michael Chang's early round results. Beat Ramesh Krishnan. He said, it's that long since I've played somebody that's about the same height as I am. Because after that he goes up against Rosset, 6'5", Zoke, 6'5", and Pete Sampras, about 6 feet, but all with 125-mile-an-hour serves. So you can see he disposed of Krishnan easily. And Sampras, he played a good match against Sampras. I think Sampras does have a mental block against Michael Chang. And Jim Courier may well have fallen in that category also, because they all came up together in the juniors.
Coming up here this morning, Fred, I passed Roy Emerson, and he called out to me and said, tell Fred Stolle I'm going to watch the show today. I said, why? He said, because I was working with him this morning with the boss folks, and his voice is so bad that, that I'm going to tune it in. Mary, how's it down there? Again, the wind up here feels, I mean, from here it feels like it should be a factor, but what's it like down there?
It's pretty insistent. Cliff, it's coming quite hard, and it kind of changes directions. But I think both these guys are so quick, and they both hit such a nice, solid ball that it won't be as big a factor as if than if a couple of other guys were playing Richard Kaufman in the chair for this one. I mean, I consider these two both very good win players.
What is your sense of this match, Mary, in terms of a winner at this point?
My feeling is that I agree with Fred Stolle that both these guys actually have quite a bit of tennis in them right now, and I think they both could use a little bit of a break. They both know how to win the French Open, and with that coming up soon, I think they'd both like to be fresh for that. But again, I feel that Courier's got to play very, very well, and because he should be the one to dictate this match. If he doesn't play well, he'll only be dictating how many times he gets passed, how many times he gets beaten. By Chang. Chang off to a slow start.
30. Best of 3 set matches, of course. The average match for Jim Courier has been over 2 hours, as you can see. For Michael Chang, it has been under 2 hours. Of course, Courier lost a bunch of first sets in his matches, as we told you. Love, first game. Morgan Fruworth on the right of your screen. Brad Stein is a coach with the player development, USDA player development story, and they are helping Jim Courier out. That's Gavin Forbes as well, Jim Courier's agent. Morgan Fruworth is his girlfriend, met at the French Championships last year. She's happy with what happened in the first game anyway. Best of 3 sets, 1 game to love first set, Courier. Chang's brother here. Okay.
Time. Seats quickly, please. Thank you.
Sunny day down here in South Florida. Courier, 1 game to love in the first set. No breaks. Men's draw, last 8 looked like this. Courier playing Chang. Mancini and Hlasek will play the other semi-final. That match will be played tonight. You can see it 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Kracek losing to Mancini. Cherkasov, Russia losing to Hlasek. Courier beat Nargiso. Chang beat Sampras. A year ago, here's what things were like. Jim Courier, now number 1, was ranked 18. Michael Chang, of course, was a lot lower than he is. Jakub Hlasek was number 17 in the world, and Mancini has made a big comeback. Mancini hadn't played a match at this time last year.
Five straight points for Courier. Chang has given away a couple of shots, but Jim, you can see, wanted to come out real hot right away.
Well, this is pretty much what we expected when Courier said, well, Michael will give it his nerve-wracking shot, and I'll do the best to take it to him and see what happens.
tough to imagine that anyone is fitter than Michael Chang because he's so strong and so quick, Fred. But in the case of Jim Courier, he is playing against somebody who is at least as fit. Keith Hernandez, former Met, watching today.
Yeah, no, I
they
agree
put
with
him
you
through that USTA player development thing up in Indianapolis, went through the machines, and afterwards they said this guy has got the aerobic capacity of an athlete, of a runner, I mean, a long distance runner, not a tennis player. Way better than anyone else tested in tennis.
Well, that's the first point for Michael Chang, but we've seen a totally different Jim Courier at the start of this match. He's been aggressive, he's been out there, he's eager to get into it. In some of his matches, it looks as though he's played too much tennis, and it's really been an effort for him to get out and dig in. But it's marvellous what happens when somebody's beaten you the last time out and you're the #1 player in the world. You don't want to let that fella get too far in front and say, hey, I don't mind playing Courier. And again, Michael Chang is not going to be pulled into the, he's not going to press a panic button at this stage just because Courier is hitting a few winners. Chang will stick to his game plan, and that is to probably stay back there, try and slow Jim Courier down, run down a few balls, and if he gets the short ball himself, to attack. It's a thinking man's point there because Chang threw in a kick serve and he got the short reply that he wanted. And as I said, when he gets the short ball, he's been trying to throw himself at the ball and trying to become more aggressive, and he did that time by hitting an outright winner. Great freeze shot of Michael Chang there. Looked as though he was doing a swan dive.
Didn't it?
Yeah. Great photography.
Game check.
I mean, the guy's about a foot in the air hitting a normal forehand. 1 game off first set. Chang in a little trouble at the start of that game. He actually in a few matches this week started out slowly against Marc Rosset of Switzerland and Marcus Zucker of Germany. He lost the first set and then came back. In the case of Rosset, he won the tiebreaker, but he won the tiebreaker easily. Didn't lose a point in it in the third set. He told you that Courier had the same kind of story. Started out slowly this week. A lot of records belong to Michael Chang. He was so young when he started out. Youngest semi-finalist in tour history. Youngest male player to win a US Open match. He was just about 15 and a half years old then. Grand Slam winner, of course. Youngest player also to rank in the top 5 when he was 17 years and not yet 6 months. Doesn't like that call, Michael Chang. But the score has been called, so this is 40 love. Chang talking to Richard Kaufman in the chair. Take a look again.
Yeah, looked as though it was pretty good. Tough to tell from here, though. Those replays do a good job.
Game Courier.
Michael Chang trailing 2-1, first set, playing Jim Courier, both of the USA.
Huh? Well, you know, I think he's in the air also, but it's the biomechanical people will tell you that you can't hit a ball in the air.
Yeah, now keep it going. Look, where's the contact point? There.
Yeah.
Guy's way in the air. I mean, he's a foot in there. Look at that.
I can't believe.
How can he say the guy's on the ground?
Well, your friend Ron Woods from the USTA says that that's not possible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he tell you that?
Yeah, he said it in a seminar the other day.
Okay, so much for the people who say that your feet are on the ground when you actually make contact with the ball. Take a look at this again as Michael Chang hits this forehand in that last game. Look at him. The ball is not yet on the strings, and his feet at this point, as you can see, are at least 6 inches off the ground. Now he makes contact. This is the freeze point. Boom, and look at that. If he's not a foot off the ground, then my name's Charlie Brown. Watch that.
By the time he finishes, he's about 2 feet off the ground by the time he throws him away. But I was at a seminar the other day for the Greater Miami Tennis Patrons Association, and Ron Woods gave a talk there and got into the biomechanical bits and pieces and told the folks that you really couldn't jump off the ground before you hit a ball. You couldn't jump in the air and then hit a tennis ball, but there's living proof that you do, or the top players in the world do. I don't know how many club players can do that.
Love 15.
Well, we'll save that and show it.
Another myth shattered by videotape. That's Betty Chang in the chair, in the underneath that hat.
Michael's mom, of course. Second serve of only 61 miles per hour for Chang. But, you know, he's putting a lot of spin on the ball. We saw the same kind of thing the last match that he played when he was taking on Sampras. He's just more interested in getting the ball in play.
Well, he needs to get the first serve in here more so than the second serve, because I think he's in trouble. Courier starts to dictate if he misses that first serve. Even that one there was 88 miles an hour, but a little more power, but good positioning of the serve. But if he misses that and allows Courier to dictate the trend of the point, then Chang never gets in the offensive mode. That was a great forehand from Michael Chang, because Courier came in on a pretty deep shot. Didn't frame this one, but he got it up in the air, gave it a lot of air, got deep into the corner. Chang hit a forehand. Look how low that one was, and look in the position. He's halfway into the net between the service line and the net there, Courier, and couldn't control it. Just too much power and a lot of topspin.
So Michael Chang holds on. 2 games all first set. Talked during the week about Jim Courier being a little lucky this year. He was, because Richard Krajcek had to pull out against him in the semi-final of the Australian Open injured. And here at this Lipton tournament, he got the same kind of break when Andres Gomez had to pull out. I mean, Krajcek pulled out before the match ever began. But here, Gomez was giving him a very tough match, retired at 4-3 in the 3rd set. But he's had a couple of bad breaks too. He was very close in a couple of matches that I'll tell you about after this. In Brussels a few weeks ago, he played against Boris
Love
Becker,
15.
5-7. In the 5th set, he lost that match, had match points, so it was a terrific match for him, but he lost that one. And then the following week in Stuttgart, Goran Ivanisevic beat him. Tiebreaker in the 3rd set again, couldn't have been closer, both of which he lost. Had he won those, his ranking, or his points rather, would have been even higher.
Both of which he admits, by the way, that he choked on. Chang gets his first point on Courier's serve. And now a look at a second serve. That's what I like about Courier. He'll tell it to you pretty straight. So will Michael after a match. You know, he's not afraid. Courier, as he said to us earlier in this week, that he choked like a dog. You know, he's not afraid to say that.
That was Courier said that, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's what I'm saying. A lot of players won't say something like that. This guy knows why he loses matches. And isn't afraid to say it.
Courier, he's not going to win too many points on his serve today against Michael Chang. He's going to have to work for every one on his own serve games.
He only lost one. He played. He's won what, 4, 8, 10 out of 11. So he's not doing too badly for a start off with.
Yes, you just joined us. The fiery Fred Stoll has got laryngitis, doing his best. Wide, 30 all.
30 all.
There's a serenity of spirit about Michael Chang that is very, it's got to be very disturbing to an opponent because nothing bothers him. I mean, he can be down, seemingly out. Doesn't change his attitude at all, and you always feel like there's a chance that he can come back. 30 all in this game. Very intimidating. Sun's not good there in that serve position, is it, Mary?
It's really not.
Three of 7, net points 1 for Courier. Chang hasn't been in much at all yet.
First break point of the match.
The sun where it is now, actually the wind is also blowing against Courier at this point, so he's got both the sun and the wind against him here, and a second serve. Break point. Pardon me, that was a first serve. Ball good. Courier would like his call. He's not going to get one. Game call. Chang has the first break. 3 games to 2. First set, best of 3. Semi-finals day here. The men's singles at the Lipton. We're on Key Biscayne, and this coverage is live. This most cosmopolitan of cities, maybe in all of the United States, certainly in Florida, coast of Miami, Miami Beach, the greater Miami area. We're on Key Biscayne. The International Tennis Center, host site of Lipton 92. And let's remind you again that this tournament will be one of 9 elite tournaments on the calendar for 1993. It is a feather in the cap, rather, of this great championship. Chang leading 3 games to 2 in the first set. He's playing Jim Courier and he has a break.
Well, Butch Buchholz has such a great staff here. It really worked very hard to make this the success it is. One of them that is involved, that's an only ace. Even the best players can do it.
No, that was a real weird whiff. It was only an 85-mile-an-hour serve. It must have taken a funny hop or something. Looks like it scoots right under Courier's racket. It's not like he took his eye off of it. That just took a funny bounce.
One of the girls that do a lot of work for Butch Buchholz, that looks after all the tickets. And seeing this show's going to Australia, her name is Dagny Woodcock Potter. She married one of our good tennis players down there. That's Butch Buchholz. Warren Woodcock was a Davis Cup team member for Australia. As you look at Jerry Boyks, they've moved back to Australia, and Dagny would just like to say hello on this telecast that's going out on Channel 9's Wide World of Sports in Australia for your pleasure.
30 love, now 40 love, game point Chang, Jerry Boyks. With Lipton Sports, he has been involved with Butch Buchholz as really very much an active partner in this championship ever since it began.
They had a dream come true, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
This is the 3rd time it's moved. It was up in Broward County for a while, looking for a site. They finally found one here. The Dade commissioners have been very good to them here. Had a few problems out on Key Biscayne, but they've all been resolved. And a permanent stadium will be here next year. And boy, will that help out a lot.
Meanwhile, Jim Courier would like a little help of his own here. 40-15 in this game. Chang rolling on his own serve so far. 3 games to 2 and game point.
It's unusual, really. Courier held at love the first 2 service games of his, and then he got broken last game. He's got to sort of snap himself back into this match.
We started off by saying it was a very different Jim Courier. He was very eager. He got stuck into it early. Got that early service break. Chang just hangs in there. Chang just keeps those jaws around your ankles. He doesn't let you go anywhere. So he consolidates the break and leads it 4 games to 2. Unforced errors there. Courier, he's the one that's trying to make the pace. Michael Chang, 4 of those. Courier, 9.
Four straight games for Chang.
It's only 3 straight games, not
Excuse me.
4. Okay.
It's always a pretty gutsy thing to try to drop shot Michael
15
Chang
love.
because he's so quick.
And
So
he gets,
Courier had to stay around in this rally, didn't he?
yeah. Chang then really didn't get that one up in the air far enough. Courier had really had to move forward to knock that one off.
15.
look that good as you watch Morgan Fruworth looking at her boyfriend Jim Courier trying to turn the tide of this first set, but it doesn't look good for him at this point, does it? I mean, Chang, considering the conditions, the wind and everything, very solid. There's not much, there's very little complication in his swings. Takes a short swing on both sides, compact. That's good in the wind. 15 all.
Jim met Morgan, started dating her at last year's French Open, where she was helping run the transportation committee. She speaks fluent French, of course, and she's been trying to give some French to Courier. In fact, she's gone to the extreme, taking those little post-its that stick to things and labeling everything in their apartment: couch, lamp, rug, chair. He's giving it a go, Courier. He's been practicing more than his tennis. And he speaks some pretty good French, too. But he's really, again, this is a man who likes a little bit more pace. You know, he likes working with speed, and he also has been complaining, not complaining, I guess, but he's unhappy with how soft the balls are this week. He thinks he's given it a really big ride, and it's not really going anywhere, penetrating. And of course, against Chang, that would hurt him if he's got it in his head that his shots are lacking stick. The only time Courier thought he was really penetrating and hitting a good hard ball was in an outside court match against Charlie Stieb a couple of days ago. And of course, the outside courts are playing a little bit faster.
Yeah, I think it's more the court surface than maybe the ball.
I don't know, though, Freddie. You know, he's really dropped down now. The tension in his racket about 7 pounds, about 3 kilos. So he can really, you know, he just feels like he's got to muscle the ball through the air to make anything happen.
Break point.
Game Chang.
And another break,
Ball
so that's
change.
2 breaks to serve for Michael Chang now, and Jim Courier is in a lot of trouble in the first set. Chang will serve leading 5-2 when we come back.
Chang leads 5-2.
Okay. Who's leading now? Do you know?
Hey, hey, Brian. In the next game, well, at some point I'm going to tell a story about Courier, talking about the radar gun. So, okay, all right.
Okay. This is the Lipton 92. Jim Courier, #1 player in the world, is having a lot of trouble in the first set with Michael Chang. 2 breaks to serve, and Chang leads at 5-2. Following our tennis today, the Vintage Arco Invitational from Indian Wells, California. First round coverage. That's 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. tomorrow, and 5:30 on Sunday. Lee Trevino, Gary Player, and the defending champ is Chichi Rodriguez. We'll try to fill you in during this next hour and a half on what is happening out there as we get news from Indian Wells. Chang to serve for the first set.
Courier won 12 of the first 14 points of this match. Since then, it's been all Chang.
good on serve, isn't he?
And I would say his serving percentage of miles per hour is about 80, in the 80s somewhere. Certainly not much bigger than that.
Average of 1 point a game.
Yeah, that one's only 70 miles an hour. Again, Courier would much prefer to react off of pace. This thing, this is driving. I really don't think he likes having to play this kind of tennis where he tries to muscle the ball. He's got to muscle the ball around. I think that's why he's been shanking a couple of them, pulling them wide. Just spinning them in as he did so successfully against Pete Sampras in the last round.
The counter puncher, and from 12 of 14 that Courier won to start off with, Chang has won 18 of the last 24. Quite an incredible turnaround.
Hat is off, so he's going to play a let now. Let's see what Jim Courier's reaction is to this. I'd be surprised if he complains a lot, because that overhead for Chang was certainly a makeable one.
He's going to have a talk with Eduardo Mengas, ATP supervisor. He's not going to make much of a fuss about it. They had a very friendly conversation over the fact that this is a distraction. It can even be a bit of a hazard if Michael were to step onto that hat and slip from it. We saw in the women's singles here just the other day the same thing. Arantxa Sanchez Vicario's ball slipped out of her ball holder in the rally, and the point was called. That against Capriati.
And then she didn't use it again.
Yeah, it was called. It was called as a. They played the point again, which I thought was also a correct call.
Yeah. Michael Chang's taken his hat off so that it doesn't happen again. So here, anyway, is 3 set points for Chang.
This match reminds me a little of that Sanchez Vicario Capriati match.
That's exactly right. Tactics.
Tactics.
Beating execution.
Yep. Chang, the tactician, against Courier, the big hitter.
Looked pretty easy for Michael Chang after the first couple of games as his mother Betty Chang watches. Boy, he has had a very good year, as we said. He won San Francisco, won Indian Wells, and 2 years ago when Stefan Edberg won Indian Wells, he got to the final here. Agassi beat him in the final, but it seems like these two tournaments go hand in hand. Last year, Courier won both of them. And Chang won it this year, and looks like he may make it to the final. He's got to win one more set, though, against the #1 player in the world, but he's looking good.
20 out of the last 26 points. That's not bad.
Like Courier decided he was going to be a lot more forceful in this second set if that first point is any judge, and he had the open court for the volley, just missed it.
Michael thinks that Courier's best volley is his drop volley, and it is a beauty. I've seen it in his singles matches and Courier's doubles matches. I got to think a lot of Courier's problems against Chang also stem from the fact that he hates the idea that he could be losing the #1 spot. He hasn't been really swinging freely as much as he'd like to at all in this tournament. It's riding on his head, and he'll admit it too.
Yeah, he said that to you, in fact.
Yeah, sure did.
15 all.
And he's been struggling, and this is the first seeded player he's faced at the Lipton, Michael, the 6th seed.
I also think there's a little bit of a mental problem with all these fellas, the boys that grew up with one another, whether it's Agassi or Courier or Sampras, when they play Chang, because when they play Michael Chang, they know they have to play at their best. If they don't play at their best, they lose. And Chang just keeps coming at you. Chang is just so consistent. Look at those errors there, 16 for 6. Brought to us by our IBM stats. Dr. Leo 11, and Chang's very nice when you ask him about that. He says, "Oh, I don't think I have a mental edge over them," but deep down, I think he realizes that he has, and he would like to keep it that way.
30.
Look at the concentration here and the return of serve. Great balance as he had. That one was sort of straight at him. He didn't move out of the way, just rolled his shoulders one way, get the ball back into play, get himself in the point.
Just a great shot. I was watching Jim Courier carefully there at the net, Fred, and he had no idea that Chang at the last minute was going to flick that over his head. He was looking down the line across.
Yeah, well, look at him. There's the first volley. So he takes another couple of steps forward. You can see the shuffle, looking for it down the line. Could have gone cross-court, but it went over the top. There's the first volley. Look what he does then. He moves to his right, looking for the one down the line, takes that stutter step, and then just watches it go over your head. You can't chase those topspin lobs down.
Break point, first game, second set. Oh, Chang had a look at that pass too, because the overhead from Courier went right back to him. Brad Stein has been working with Jim Courier very closely as a coach.
He knows how frustrated Courier is this week, that he feels he's not, the ball isn't flying off his strings.
Big comeback, a very big comeback for Jim Courier, holding on their first game of the second set. Otherwise, this match could have been a very short one indeed. Some of the things you can do down here in the South Florida area, there is a lot of water around here. Florida beaches, of course, are the real American tropics. Way south of any California beach, more than 1,000 miles south of, for example, the French Riviera, and there's a lot to do around the water here. Those dolphins are just fascinating to watch. 6-2 Chang, first set. Now Jim Courier of the USA leads one game to love in the second. He had a break point against his serve in the first game of the second, but held on.
Courier looks very alert, very eager to try to break Chang here. He's been dancing around on the baseline, feeling he's got to start the second set out better, and he's right.
15-8.
Well, the wind certainly took that one. The breeze blowing pretty much across the court today. First serve percentages, look at that.
That is just remarkable.
Second serve points won, 83%. Lost only 4 points on his serve. Now, you'd never think, put that in as one of his strengths and improve first serve, but I meant by the way that went, pretty much the pace at which he served. And in a match like this, The tactical manoeuvre is just to get it in.
Well, let's face it, as you say, Fred, it's not the serve that does it, it's what he does after that.
Yep. Well, the serve still sets it up. Like that last one was 71 miles an hour, but it bounces up right around Courier's shoulders, and he had to take one hand off it and just a single-handed return. Look where Chang was when he hit that forehand around the server's line area. Another big kick serve.
I think it's very smart for Chang to just be spinning them in, especially the ones high to the Courier backhand. It's
a tough shot, isn't it?
Yeah, well, take Courier out of his power zone, out of his hitting zone.
Same thing with Sampras the other day. Anything round about waist high, Sampras cracks pretty good on the return.
There's a woman had a badge that was reflecting light and distracting Jim Courier.
So she's taking it off, yeah.
But I just remember that when Stefan Edberg beat Courier so convincingly at the U.S. Open, he kicked an awful lot high to the Courier backhand, and it was a terrific tactic. Chang's doing a lot of that.
Chang is one of the players that will go out and watch some of the other matches played by the top players.
Lost 1 point on his serve in this game, average of about 1 every serve game for the match. That's a remarkable statistic on what is generally a slow court.
That's the improvement I was talking about. He pumped that one up to 113 miles an hour.
But it's those shots that really make the difference in this game, isn't it? The passing shots, or if you put anything loose, as he says himself, he can attack something like this here. Again, as you can see, he's off the ground. Look at his entire body in the air as he makes contact with that ball. Actually, he's made contact with it already. But he generates power by rotating the upper body viciously and still retains very, very good control. Davis Cup next weekend here on ESPN. Join us for this 11 a.m. Eastern Time live coverage. Starts on the 27th. That's Friday, of course. And then you will see the rest of the times for the weekend. It'll be USA and Czechoslovakia. Peter Korda, Carl Novacek, and for the USA, McEnroe, Agassi, Sampras, and Ricky Leach. 15 love, Courier.
15.
Now let me caution you weekend players that it's not a good idea to jump in the air and swing on serves or, by the way, on forehands. It's a thing that requires very delicate balance and poise, and these boys have been doing it for years and years now. So for them it's a lot easier than it is.
Well, the little bit more height in the air that Chang has, of course, he feels it. It gives him that extra purchase. But I agree with you. It's a very difficult thing to do. I remember I was teaching a kid years ago, and he had become absolutely fascinated with a still shot of Bjorn Borg in flight. And he was trying to hit all his shots up in the air. It's hard to tell him it's not a good idea because it looks like such a great shot, such a glamorous shot. Most people have an awful lot more control and power on the ground, just like that.
30-15 Courier. First set Chang. 1 game all. No.
30.
I just think he's tight. I really do.
Courier couldn't believe the shot he played there.
Yeah, I just think he's had a hard time loosening up his shoulders. Can you hear him? He's telling the fans it's an imposter playing.
We can hear him through our microphone at the back of the court.
Yeah.
I was wondering if he was looking at Richard Kaufman. I think more likely he was looking over at his coach and girlfriend.
No,
there.
he was looking right behind him into the fans. He was showing that to the fans.
No, I mean before that, just when the point was over, you know, he was looking in that general direction. Now he's dropped his racket or thrown it down, might be more accurate. Cannot figure out what's going on, and he is breakpoint down. You talk about balance, Fred, and poise, and you look at a swing like that. I mean, he's moving backward as he hit the ball. There's no way.
No,
He's lost confidence in the wind, and there's nothing worse that can happen.
It's not that windy, guys. I honestly think he's tight because he knows he's a couple of games away from losing his #1 rank.
Beat you! Don't beat yourself, you moron!
He's right, boy.
Yeah.
No, he said, let somebody beat you, don't beat yourself. And he definitely is tight.
It's good advice too, isn't it?
Yeah, he hasn't played well all week though, really. Lost the first set in a match against Diego Nargiso, a talented young fella from Italy.
Oh, ace. That's his second.
That just shows you get mad enough, you can throw one up and hit it 118 miles an hour for an ace. Boy, did he need that.
Two aces to one.
Advantage Courier.
Chang let one get away here. Quick with the racket, he drops it and just tries to flick it. He tried to hit that a little too hard.
Kind of almost open before he swung into that. You don't often see him out of position. Game point Courier. So game to Courier. And that might turn things around. Who knows? He's going to the less pleasant end to play from now,
Courier
though.
leads
Chang's
2-1.
coming from it. 2 games to 1, second set. Chang. Chang, 2-7. Tell your people. Look at that. He's not on headset yet. I don't think he's going to do it.
What's that? What? No, not, no.
IBM rather, ATP Tour singles rankings. Courier's #1 in the world. Edberg just behind him, and Edberg and he will switch places if he loses this match today. Then Becker, Sampras, Michael Stich of Germany is at #5. Guy Forget just behind him, and Ivan Izovich closing in on Forget. Lendel's not far behind, but he's down to #8. Michael Chang will help his chances considerably if he wins this tournament. Peter Korda will play for Czechoslovakia against the USA next weekend, second round of the Davis Cup.
Thank you. Any seat.
The interesting thing is when Edberg was told that he could still overtake Jim Courier, even though he lost to a qualifier, Robbie Weiss, here earlier this week, he said, really? Well, I don't deserve it. Hasn't been playing well at all the last few weeks. And Edberg's loss to Robbie Weiss a couple of days ago in this event was the the worst loss he's ever taken against a ranked player. Weiss at 289 on the computer. Earlier this year, Edberg also lost in Davis Cup to Canadian Danny Nestor, who is 239 in the world.
Love.
I'm not as outraged at the fact that those things happen in computers as some people. I mean, week to week, if you watch the computer, it might drive you a little bit crazy. But by the end of the year, everyone seems to be flying in pretty much the right formation. It all sort of settles out and evens out over the course of a year. It's all about defending points from 52 weeks ago.
Yeah, good serve from Chang. You know, it is, Mary. One cannot minimize really how important it is for the players, because when they consider their schedule for the year, you know, in an effort to try to maintain rankings, they know, hey, I did this last year, I better go and do it again, out of Courier's reach. It's kind of a week-to-week thing when they start zeroing in on a portion of the year that they played well last year. They start to choke even thinking about it. Game point.
Game check. 2-all.
No warning for Jim Courier for that. The ball that he hit came not far from the linesperson. He, by the way, often suggests that he might have been a Major League Baseball player. Used to play a lot of baseball as a kid, and who knows, he might have made it. Cincinnati Reds is his favorite team, so he likes to play the ATP championships up there. But his backhand is a lot like a baseball swing, as you probably figured out. Faced break point in the last 4 service games, Jim Courier. He held on the last 2 times, though. We're 2 games off.
He hasn't felt that his serve has been effective all week long.
Love 15.
Courier. In fact, he went up to the radar, the IBM radar, where it shows the miles per hour in his match against Diego Narciso. He went up to Eduardo Mengas, pointing to the thing, and he said, "You guys have this thing because people want to see 130 mile per hour serves, but you also want 20 hit rallies." He squeezed a tennis ball and said to Mengas, I can't break an egg with this thing. You guys make up your minds. What kind of tennis do you want to see?
Well, the ATP Tour held a symposium this morning on the speed of the game. A lot of tennis dignitaries from around the world were there, and the consensus seems to be that a court like this, or the court at Indian Wells last week, is a pretty fair surface for all players. I mean, what they call an equal opportunity surface, where the big servers can win and so can the defensive players. Love 30.
First serve.
Look at this tournament. 16 of the top 20 guys are here. A lot of hard-hitting servers. And look who's left in the semis.
Yeah.
A baseliner in Courier, a baseliner in Chang, Alberto Mancini, a strict baseliner, and Jakob Blasek, who's a little bit more of an all-court player than the others.
Oh, remember that point. If Courier is able to somehow dig his way out of this game, it will be a lucky day for him.
15-30.
Totally mishit this volley.
Yeah, he really grubbed out this whole point, didn't he? He chummed that one. That thing went off of his frame, so he came into the net behind it and had to dive for the desperation volley. He just greased that one out. That's more about fortitude than form.
15-30. Nothing phases Michael Chang, though. He's playing so well.
15-40.
Quite an unbelievable rally, this one. I think we might have to change that weakness on Michael Chang after today's match. No big shot. He certainly come up with some pretty big groundies to get into the net.
Break point. Well, that's it. That's his third ace. I think Chang actually tipped that, but we'll give him an ace anyway. But again,
Dr. Leo Levin gave him an ace, Cliff, so I guess we can give him one. Huh?
We'll do it, Fred.
Okay.
3 aces.
Game Chang.
That's his second double fault in the first break of serve in the second set for Michael Chang. He broke a couple of times in the first set. 6-2.
Time.
This is what Jim Courier, I'm sure, has got to be thinking of in this match. He's only been number 1 for 6 weeks now. Boris Becker, last year, remember, he finally turned number 1 after he won the Australian Open, but only held it for 12 weeks. In fact, he tried to play a lot more tournaments to maintain his number 1 ranking, but it didn't happen. Edberg took it over from him. You can see how young John McEnroe was when he assumed the number 1 position and hung around for a real long time, but nobody's ever been number 1 longer than Jimmy Connors.
Chang serving 2-3 or 3-2, second set. Only 5 points in the match against Michael Chang's serve. Only 1 in the second set. And Jim Courier is all at sea. Appropriate, I suppose, since we're in the South Florida area, but he just doesn't know what to do at this point, Fred. Coming into the net doesn't seem to work. He stays back and Chang's all over the groundies.
That's like that last one, again, an approach shot that, as he complained, he hasn't been able to get enough zip on it. And that's not his best shot, the volley. So he's frustrated when you know that he's trying to chip and charge against Michael Chang.
I should say, by the way, that when Boris Becker took over the number 1 spot in winning the Australian last year, he only was number 1 for 3 weeks, and we tried to hang on for more. But he was number 1 again for 9 more weeks. Oh! So Courier has held the position longer than Becker. And you don't want to lose it. When you first get it, you don't only want to last a couple of weeks at the top. Although Courier said at the Australian that he said, no matter what I do for the rest of my career, I can always say I was number 1.
Sure.
Only 10 people in the whole, since 1973 when the rankings started to be kept, have been number 1. So it's a great achievement, no matter how brief it lasts. And surely he'll be challenging for number 1 all year if he does lose it today.
There's far too many unforced errors so far from Jim Courier. It has been a symphony of unforced errors for him compared to Michael Chang, who's been so solid.
Well, this is why he's trying to mix it up. He knows he can't stay on the ground against Chang. I cannot. I've never seen him have so much frustration against someone's serve. And again, it's the lack of pace that's hurting him.
Yeah, it's not as though Chang's doing anything, is it?
No.
82 miles an hour.
Game point, Chang. Deuce.
Deuce.
Just over an hour has passed since this match started. Shows his frustration here. Just really chases that one and tags it, hits it as hard as he possibly could. Miami, one of the busiest airports in the country. I think it ranks about number 5.
Well played, game point, Michael Chang.
That's the first time in this match that Chang has been taken to deuce on his serve. That's not a bad stat.
Jim Courier last year won the French championships, as you know, over Andre Agassi in the final. He beat Michael Stich, who won Wimbledon in the semi-finals. He also beat Stefan Edberg there in the quarterfinals. But he didn't play well on clay going into the French championships. Lost in the round of 16 at Rome and in the German championships in the first round. So if you're looking at who's going to be number 1 in the next few weeks, he has a chance to help his ranking by doing well in those tournaments that lead up to the French.
Well, these two have both won the French. He asked them, and they both think that they're just as good on a hard court.
Michael Chang is just such a solid competitor.
Have a look at the speed on that serve though, Cliff. 65 miles an hour. The one before that was 61 miles an hour. One before that, 82. See, he's just not trying to do anything except get the ball in play.
Well, as you said earlier, it's been a very good start to this year for Michael Chang. He won in San Francisco, he won last week. Looks like he's going to get the final here unless the wheels come off for him.
He's a deeply religious man, Chang, and he always used to take a couple of months off for the Christmas season. But this year, for the first time, he played the Australian, and he figures that's why he's been so much sharper, so much earlier in the year. Well, he prepared well for that event, and he's been on a roll ever since.
Oh, look at that. Not content just to get to it and try to do something fancy. He just, as quick as he is, gets to the ball and then flicks it cross court. Hard, clean winner.
So I think Michael Chang's too smart for these fellas. He reckons that that's his best shot. I think he tells them that's how they play it, and he can do this. You know, he tells you that
Courier wouldn't mind that volley back.
Yeah. So there's Courier's best shot, his drop shot, and Chang says, okay, yeah, I've got that one. That's easy.
15 all.
Too shrewd.
Wide.
That one's wide.
There's a French connection here at this championship. Take a look at this. In 91, Courier won Lipton and the French. Agassi in 90 won here, was a French Open finalist. Mats Wielander won Lipton in the French in 88. In 87, Ivan Lendl was a Lipton finalist and he won the French championships. In 86, Lendl won Lipton and the French. By the way, when Chang won the French, he beat Lendl on the way there.
What that means is the players that get to the finals here do very well at the French.
Yes, this is the last hard court tournament of the ATP Tour season, Fred, before they go to the clay.
Yeah, I think there's a few fellas looking forward to getting to the clay too.
30 all. Mary, would you just confirm for us one more time that it's still down there, because I'm having to hold on to Fred Stoller just to keep him from blowing off this perch up here.
It ain't the wind, Cliff. I think there's a wind blowing through Courier's heart right now. He doesn't like the idea that he just can't let it go. Can't make the ball fly.
Game point. And game for Jim Courier. Still hanging on, but only just 4-3. Break a serve, Michael Chang. Second set. Chang won the first 6-2.
4-3.
Yeah.
Okay. (6-2) first set, Michael Chang. 4-3 second set with the breaker serve. Let's take a quick look at the draw again for this championship. Starting at the quarterfinal rounds, Courier playing Chang now. Mancini will play Jakub Hlasek tonight, and you can watch that match here alongside us at 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Jakub Hlasek of Switzerland and Alberto Mancini from Argentina. Michael Chang to serve, leading 4-3. Hasn't lost his serve yet. Hasn't been in any danger, I guess, other than the last time that he served. Only lost 8 points in 7 serve games. Was a deuce. That's the closest he's got. For those of you who just joined us, a reminder that Jim Courier has got to win this match to stay #1 on the computer.
Second.
tied.
15 all.
15 all. It's going to be but another 2 years and you will not be able to get a ticket for the Lipton. My opinion, just like is true of Grand Slam tournaments. There are 2 other events that go on at the same time as this, by the way. National Foundation of Wheelchair Tennis holds a tournament here, and the USPTA International Tennis Teachers Championship. Tim Wilkerson, who won it the last couple of years, he's out. He was a pro player for a long time. Frustrated Jim Courier.
30-15.
Cliff, if you can't get a ticket for this thing, as you say, that means there'll be no one in the stands. I just don't like the way that sounds.
Okay. How about you can't get a ticket at the last minute? How about you can't walk up to the gate and say, excuse me, here's $20. Let me watch the tennis.
I think that's what you meant.
You can't walk up now with $20 and say, I want to see the tennis.
What does it cost? I don't even know. Game point here for Chang.
Game Chang. Ball change.
Chang holds on again, and it's 5-3. He's 1 game away from getting to the final at the Lipton for 92. Gets out of the way of that one, and it went way long. 5-3, first set 6-2. In a couple of years' time, when it's going to be difficult to get a ticket, that's when the phones start ringing. Do you think you can get me a ticket to the...
No, listen, I live down here. They've started ringing already. No. My house is a mess these 2 weeks.
You wondered what happened to Fred Stolle. Well, he's still with us. He just sounds a little different today. He's got a bad case of a bad sore throat, laryngitis. $15 love. $15. 25 unforced errors rather from Courier, balanced by only 10 winners. Hasn't been a good day for him, what can you say? A little more aggressively played. It looked that he hit one with some authority, or a change.
40-15.
Courier is not completely out of this match. by any means yet. Pretty frustrated. He goes for that one. That's as hard a volley as he's hit for a long while. But if he wins this match, it forces Chang to serve for it, and anything can happen.
You mean this game, Fred? Well, he has won this game. 5 games to 4. The players will change ends, and Chang is going to have to serve for it if he wants to get to the final here at Lipton 92.
It's just that I forget sometimes. I panic at the end. Okay, wheelchair tennis, USPTA. What other business? Lufthansa. Right. How about Lufthansa, Rado, IBM? We've done a few IBMs. We haven't done a Nike today, have we?
Time.
Fred Stoller, Cliff Drysdale, Mary Carrillo's at courtside. Hope you're enjoying the semi-final of the men's singles here. The crowd are into this match, although I'm not sure that it deserves it, really. They are trying to get Jim Courier back into it. He's had a very rough day at the office, as the fiery one would say, when his voice feels a little better or sounds better. Playing against Michael Chang, who has been very, very tough. For the conditions, very few unforced errors, and Chang now serving for the match, leading 6-2 and 5 games to 4. Winner will take on either Jacob Classic or Alberto Mancini.
As you said, though, Cliff, he's on his back foot all the time. Courier can't hit off the back foot, but he gets the weight for those last 2 shots. He nearly fell over going backwards.
Careful of that one. Chang can get to those things. He's so quick, and then just whips over the ball with that two-handed shot. Got very good racket head control.
30 love.
This is another one of those shots that Michael Chang says, well, this is one of Jim Courier's best shots. It's his drop shot. Look what he does to it. Again, the drop volley and the drop shot. Chang has just murdered the last 2 of them. Unbelievable pace that he can hit that two-hander with when he got there.
Look at that again. 9 points in 8 service games. No break points for Courier yet.
Deuce on one game was the closest that he got, and that was the last time that Michael Chang served from that side. So, match point. It's inevitable, isn't it? 3 of them.
Michael Chang will not believe that statistic that says that he's only lost 8 points on serve in an entire match.
Game, set, match, Chang. 6-2, 6-4.
Betty Chang is feeling pretty good about that result, and why wouldn't she? Her son's already won 2 tournaments this year, San Francisco and Indian Wells last week. And Fred Stolle, there's nothing that you could see today that would make you think he can't go all the way here, is there?
No, I think he's going to win the tournament, Cliff. A great effort all week from him. He's come back from being a set down. Very disappointing day for Jim Courier, losing that #1 spot now. I think the pressure got to him a little bit. And as he said, halfway through that second set, there's an imposter out here playing for me today.
That's about how it was, or at least how he felt about it. So let's say goodbye to #1 for now. And he could get it back very soon. Edberg will retake the #1 spot, although as he said this week, I don't deserve it, because he didn't play particularly well here either at the Lipton. Michael Chang, the winner, and we'll have a chance to talk with him when we come back. Straight sets over Jim Courier 2 and 4.